There we go. So anyway, my name is Evelyn. I'm one of the organizers, founder for this group, Antiracist Conversations. We call ourselves ARC. So thank you for joining ARC today for this, what I believe is going to be a dynamic discussion group about voting is more than a check mark. It's your voice, your story, and your power. So I want to begin just by saying again, to repeat myself, I lack repetition when you're making people feel welcome. I'm glad to see you guys. And glad you're here for this very important discussion. But I'd like to ground us, though, with a few guidelines so we'll know how we're going to be moving forward in this meeting today. First of all, because of the kind of discussion we're going to have, I'm going to ask you guys to be curious and listen to understand other people's perspectives and their stories about voting. We do have an agenda. We won't insert any additional information in our agenda. Our goal today is to be fact focused. Conversation, I believe, and I is much as much about listening as it is about talking. So we're going to do both today. And we're going to listen to each other without interrupting, because I'm going to ask you guys to stay on mute anyway while one person is speaking. And that way we're going to give that person the respect they need and really deserve as the speaker. And we're going to not, we're going to respect each other and suspend judgment, completely suspend judgment. Everybody's story is personal, it's their voting story, whatever the story is, it's theirs. So we're going to share from our own experiences today and work hard to understand the perspectives of other people. So I know sometimes, for example, I do this, I'm guilty of it. If someone's speaking, then I have to insert, oh, wow, this happened to me. We're not going to do that today. We're going to let that person's story stand. We're not going to share any commentary on another person's story. Just listen to it, and that's all we're going to do. So, because I think sometimes when we share our perspective on it, we invalidate their stories, and we're not going to do that today. So, we're going to be conscious of sharing also the airspace and allow everyone that's logged on time to share their story. And like I said earlier, please remain on mute unless you're speaking, and please do not share any links in the chat. We have links to share with you, and we want to focus just on those today. Um, that's it as far as the grounding rules are concerned. But what I'd like to do now is just kind of bring us to the moment and ground us in a call to action, a couple calls to action. I want to do that at the top of the event so that we can run through everything smoothly when you begin your stories and other information sharing about the topic today. So I want to ground us by sharing a quote from Maya Angelou, one of my favorite writers, one of my favorite people. And she said, as you think about your stories today that you're going to be sharing, think about this quote from Maya Angelou. She says, "You are the sum total of everything you've ever seen, heard, eaten, smelled, been told, forgotten. It's all there. Everything influences each of us. And because of that," she says, "I try to make sure that my experiences are positive." So, moving forward, I want to call us to action right now. And the site that I use is Michelle Obama's site. It's called When We All Vote. And according to When We All Vote, she says, or they say, ensuring all Americans, especially young Black and Brown voters, can make their voices heard is no small mission. So, what I would like to do at this time, and I would say maybe the people that you guys are part of the choir and you always check your voter registration weekly, daily, whatever, however often you need to. I'm not going to assume that I know that. So I'm going to give you the opportunity to check your voter registration because we know the times we're living in. We're not going to go into the negative. There's no reason to bring in the opposition's name today. It's not about them, it's about us. So, but I do want to give everybody the opportunity, if you choose, to check your voter registration. The link is in the chat. And if you don't want to use that particular link, that's fine. But what I'm thinking about is there are people in your friend group that might need this. And you don't have to copy it. It's already online. If you want to copy it, that's fine. But I would say let's be proactive and make sure that other folks have access to a link to check their voter registration on a regular basis moving forward. Also, there's another link that I will share with you in the chat. And this one is from Pass the Mic to Gen Z. You guys might have heard of that. And I look at my generation and the generation of my grandsons. We're on a different plane as far as what we do about voting. And my issues are not necessarily their issues, So I would like for you guys to share this with young people that you know. And when it's a survey link, and you're going to give them the opportunity to look at the list and encourage them to speak up on the issues that matter most to them. I know the issues that matter to me, and I am speaking up and out, being very verbal about those issues that matter to me. But what about the young people in our lives? If you guys would, please take a look at that link and share it with them. Those are our two calls to action for right now. All righty. So thank you. You can grab those links, or if you use other links, like I said, you're fine. Just make sure that we are being proactive and not just reactive, because reactive kind of gets into a worry zone, doesn't it? It doesn't get us into a zone to where we can actually be beneficial sometimes. All right. So what we're going to do now is ground us with music. And you might reflect on the fact that this is an anti-racist group. It's organized by an African American woman. And my experiences are different from yours, right? If you're not African American or if you're not Black. So, what we always do, growing up, it was always music as part of our getting through our struggle. So, I'm going to ground us with music today, a couple songs. Because we use music, included in music, there are stories, and we use stories to make sense of the world and find common ground. Our personal narratives is like the catalyst for organizing and mobilizing. That's how I grew up. It was always music, and it was always in the church. And so I'm grounded in that. It's part of my worldview. So when we share stories today, I believe that for me as an African American, this music helps me to dismantle barriers and shatter harmful stereotypes. That's just my story. So um, then what's going to happen once I share the music? If you guys receive maybe you did not, but if you did not receive the email that I sent through Mobilize when you registered, I ask you if you would bring pencil and paper, and if you want to use an iPad, that's fine. But I have a little bit of we have an assignment to go through right now. I'm a teacher. It's kind of hard not to, kind of put students on the spot and say we're going to have a test, but this is not a test. This is going to be easy for you because it's going to be about you. So I'm not real sure if I can put all these questions in the chat. So I'm going to ask you guys to write these down. Um, but don't share your responses in the chat though. Do not share your responses in the chat yet, because we're going to have a chance to talk through them. At least some of us will. So I want you to start by writing down this question, this statement and question. I want you to identify, if you know, the first person in your family to cast a ballot. Identify the first person in your family to cast a ballot. That's the first thing you're going to focus on in just a few minutes. Number two, and I want you to visualize where they lived. I don't know if it was Texas, California, South Carolina, Georgia, wherever they live. How did their choice to vote shape that community for the better? How did their choice to vote shape that community for the better? Okay, the next one. In what ways did their participation in the democratic process directly impact your life, both in the past and now? And I will go through these again if you guys don't have a chance to write them all down. So, looking ahead, what is your personal role in civic engagement? What is your personal role in civic engagement? Moving forward, as you interact with diverse communities, how can sharing your family's voting story encourage others and ease their struggle with voter registration and perhaps even voter participation? So you have 5 questions, 5 things to focus on. And I will repeat these. We're going to listen now to music and give you a chance to respond to those stories. If the music is not what you want to hear, you're welcome to turn it down on your side. but we have 4 minutes and 53 seconds to respond to those 5 questions. Almost a minute a question. That is not a lot of time. So do the best. Do the best you can. Okay? Alrighty. My grandson's going to actually start the music.
They tried to take everything, strip away the soul, chains upon the body, but they couldn't touch what God called whole. Cried out in the darkness, didn't know if dawn would come. But a voice rose up through the suffering, saying, "Child, you are not done." Through the fire he was speaking, through the storm he held the door. He knew every tear that fell, and he knew me even more. Fear not, I have redeemed you. Define my work. The God who spoke the stars to life, spoke purpose in my birth. When the world said you are nothing, heaven said you are mine. Every scar became a testimony. Every trial made me shine. Through the fire he was speaking, through the storm he held the door. Tear that fell, and he knew me even more. Fear not, I have redeemed you. I have called you by your name. You are mine, says the Lord Almighty. You will never be the same. Through the valley, through the darkness, through the breaking and the pain. Rise up, child, I know you. You by your name. He knows my name. He knows my name. He knows my name. Say he knows your name. Didn't have to earn it. Didn't have to earn it. He claimed me just the same. He claimed me just the same. Nobody else can touch me. Nobody else can touch me. I belong to the King. Chain fall off me. Every chain fall off. Let my spirit sing. Fear not, I have redeemed you. I have called you by your name. You are mine, says the Lord Almighty. You will never
Thank you guys for listening, and I look forward to hearing responses to your questions. That music was part of my story, so I want to hear about you and how things might have changed in your area because of the first person that voted in your family. So we're a small group today. Like I see 13 people, I believe, which is awesome. So I'm just going to give you guys we probably have, what time is it? It's 12:21. We have discussion on this particular topic for a few more minutes. So if you need me to repeat the questions for you, I'd be glad to do that. But who would like to go first? Okay, I saw Cheryl and then Nancy. Cheryl, take it away. And you're muted. You'll have no longer than 3 minutes. Might not take you that long, just to give everybody a chance to speak if they need to. But after yeah, take it away.
Okay. I, I would take the first question, and I didn't get the last two written down.
That's okay.
The first person to cast a ballot that I know of was my dad. He was 60 when I was born, so I don't know much about before him. He cast a ballot in Illinois, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and New York because he lived in all three states at different times in his adult life.
Okay. Would you like the last question? I can write it.
I didn't get the last two, number 4 or 5. I wasn't able to write down that quick.
Okay. Were you able to, do you want to respond to any of the other ones, like 2 or 3, number 2 or 3?
Oh, you want me to respond to the
If
other
you'd
two
like.
that I got?
Yeah.
Okay. How did it shape the community? I remember Dad talking about the importance of education and history of our country in our education, and to talk about social events and to talk about current events and things that came about socially in his community and throughout the United States. Let's see. What I've done personally is I've been a poll watcher, and I've tried to have discussions with people about, what they think of what's going on in the country, the elections and so forth. Most of the time they walk away because we're in a red state, and I don't push anybody. What I've done recently is registering people to vote, show them how to do an absentee ballot, and checking to see if they're registered.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you so much. Nancy.
Hi, I'm from Baltimore originally. I'm now in very red Marion County, Florida. Different culture. I grew up around politics. My dad was 24. He was the youngest man to ever run for city council. Nancy Pelosi's father was actually his mentor. So politics was always in my family. My parents would take us. I remember as a 3-year-old going to the church to vote. And in the voting booth where you had to pull the curtain closed and the little knobs, went up and down. So I always knew about voting. Also, my grandmother was from Russia. And when she became a citizen here, she really stressed about voting and why it was important to her. And you listen with that thick accent, why it's important. And I'm thinking, this is really important for my country. My parents were sort of like the leaders in the community. They went and they would tally all the votes after voting. How it affected me is by the time I was 10, I was following my father to meetings. He was president of all the organizations, civic organizations. In '68, we had the Baltimore riots. It was after Dr. King was killed. And my neighborhood was just starting to go from Jewish to Black, but we all came together. And I learned so much from my new neighbors. They learned so much from me. And that has stayed with me. And I'm still in touch with many of those people from back then. My role now, I did run for office when I was in Maryland. I lost by 30 votes, but that's okay because it was a great experience. I still stayed active. Here in Florida, I'm active with the Florida Democratic Party. I'm active with the Marion County Democratic Party. My community Democratic Party. I'm a speaker. So I go and I speak on different subjects. I also research. I do memes. I try to educate. I'm a retired teacher. So, like, so I do try to educate and it sort of comes out. I don't argue, but I kind of throw things back in people's faces so they can answer me. We were talking about data centers, for instance, I gave all the facts and somebody accused me of pontificating and not debating. And I said, well, give me some of your so-called facts and I'll debate you. Let's debate. I enjoy doing that because I want people to understand. I make sure people are voting. We have a Facebook group in my community. I make sure all the sites are on there for voter registration. Many people have found themselves to have been removed, not just from vote by mail, but from the voter rolls. So we're getting people, yes, Florida. And so we are getting people involved and every week I post the site and I push it. So I just stay totally engaged with the entire community. The only community I'm not engaged with right now are the young. I don't have any young ones living near me, and I'm sort of in older communities. But I will try to involve the Hispanic community. We're working with that. And that's how I got involved. And I'm going to stay involved because democracy means everything to me in the Constitution. And although the last election broke me, for days I was still in bed after what we went through. People convinced me it's in my DNA, and I want to spread that and get people educated. Vote.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, who would like to go next?
I can go
Hey,
next.
Lena, okay.
Yes. My name is Lena. I'm not sure who was the first to cast the vote in my family. My mom was raised in Virginia. My daddy was raised in South Carolina down the Red Clay Road. But I do know, which I finally found out probably it was 2 years into me really starting my advocacy and advocating for others. My mom was like, well, you had to get that from my mom, my grandma, because there's no way I would be calling people and getting hung up on the face. Because she would always be in the kitchen behind my room when I was making my phone banking calls and everything. So she could hear everything because I have to keep my phone on speaker because of my disability. I can't bring it up to my phone. So she would always hear everything. And she was like, yeah, you had to get that from my mom because I don't think I would be patient enough to go through that time and time again. So again, I don't really know who was the first person to vote. My grandma was very civically minded. She never worked outside the home, but from what my mom has shared with me, she was a member of this local civic organization. I do remember being in the kitchen with her and watching her make like 20 plus peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. So they lived directly across from a playground. So she would have the crate of milk and she would make all the peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So everybody knew when they saw her cross the street, she was bringing some food to eat. And so, like, again, she was very concerned about, making sure the children stayed safe. They were fed, and I'm just like, oh, that is cool. So it's probably in my DNA as well. I definitely don't like anybody to be bullied or mistreated in any kind of way. And even though I wouldn't call myself a fighter, I'm more of a lover. So I do lead with my heart first. I can get indignant when I need to, righteously indignant when I need to, and flip a table if I have to. I haven't had to flip a table yet, but they know that the causes that I believe in, I strongly believe in them. And I do a little bit of everything right now. I'm facilitating Zoom meetings to welcome new members to some of the other organizations that I meet. Um, I'm a call team leader with Next Gen, which is also geared toward younger folks. Of course, I'm on the CST team for Move On. That's how I really know Miss Evelyn from. So yeah, I've been a host vetter, a host prepper. So I'm usually that voice on the phone, making sure that the hosts are prepared and ready for any events that they have. Most recently, I did go through my government website page. So now I can officially help other people get registered to vote, which was one of my goals. And so now I have that, and And so like, yeah, me and another community member are starting a virtual individual just to reach out to folks who can't always get out to the in-person event. So again, if there's something happening in the street, we will definitely be on the screen, chit-chatting, getting involved, encouraging others to volunteer, and whatever their small part to do, we will be encouraging them. So I think that's
Thank,
it. Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Who'd like to go next? Okay, Casey.
Hi there.
Hi. Good to see you.
You too. I'm Casey. This is my mom Penny and my daughter Harper. And I'm gonna kind of, since we're all in the same family, cover that question for all of us. But we're not sure who was first to vote. Um, we know that my mom's grandfather voted, but we don't know much about his issues or anything. But my grandparents, her parents were passionate voters and usually on opposite sides. And I remember them arguing to the like fighting with each other at dinner and stuff about their issues. So I'm not sure exactly which issues affected us now, but they definitely instilled in us, and you certainly instilled in me how important it was to vote and in every election, and to be involved. So that's, I think, really all we know about the history of that. Um, and in terms of civic engagement, was that the next question, I think? Um, I think, I've always voted in every election, but I think when I had my girls is when it became so extra important to try to, make sure the world continued to be a good place. So I've been involved in campaigns and volunteering, and I think you and I got to be friendly during all that democracy reform work over the last 6 or 7 years. And I do a weekly protest every week that we started from the ground up, and been a poll watcher and all kinds of things. And I think that's about it. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. Anyone else want to respond to these questions?
Sorry, what was the question?
There were 5 questions, Maria.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to, how about I'll give you a couple of them.
Well, just based on the responses, I think that you're asking about the voting, right? So I'm a third generation voter. I know my grandmother lived into her 90s and was voting. I think I first voted like for Dukakis. I'm aging myself. And I did go to the No Kings, the second one. I'm in Texas. And we're hoping to flip it, with this Ken Paxton and Tallarico. So it's looking pretty good because Paxton is garbage, just trash
Okay.
person.
We're gonna try to refrain from bringing in that kind of
Oh, okay. All right.
yeah, we're gonna refrain from that. So
Okay.
just the facts, just the facts.
Okay.
That
So
might be
third
factual, but we'll
generation
leave that one
voter,
out.
and in my home is a fourth generation voter, in her 20s. And so we do the research. We try our best to find out who's on our ballots, find out what their credentials are. We try our best to research everyone, but those ballots keep on surprising us. Over here, we don't get as much communication about their platforms, and so we try our best on the social medias to find out the truth, the roots, because of our media isn't very reliable sometimes. So.
Thank you, Maria.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate that. Anyone else?
Deb has her hand raised, Ms.
Okay,
Evelyn.
I'll recognize them, Lena. That way we don't have to insert any information. Okay. All right. If you guys can stay on mute, that would be awesome. All right. All right. So, Deb? Dr. Chris, did you want to have a comment? Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I couldn't get my mic turned on.
Okay.
I apologize. So this is Deb.
Uh-huh.
And I'm jumping in because boy, am I going to disappoint all of you. There's a little saying we call ourselves the sheeple. Like we've sat all this time like doing nothing and participating in nothing and paying attention to nothing. And all of a sudden life changed. And so now I'm learning a lot and I'm starting to volunteer a lot. And these questions, boy, I'm like at a fish out of water with these questions. I'm going to give them a shot and advance apologies to everyone who says, "What the heck were you doing all your life?" So here I go. The first person in my family to cast a ballot, I I don't know. I'm originally from New York State. I would imagine my grandparents voted, but I can't say that for sure. My parents never talked about voting, and neither did anyone else I knew. I would imagine my mother probably voted the way my father told her to vote. That is my guess. And we never talked about that in our family at all. Um, as a youth, I did volunteer a lot for my community, mostly handicapped people, disabilities, and things like that. Kind of going down these questions really quick. Um, I do remember in high school, we must have done some sort of maybe sit down protest to be able to vote at 18 because people we knew were going to the Vietnam War. So that was probably my first awakening of voting and maybe I could influence the future. And I was at that time maybe 17. Um, and I really, even after that, I think the first president I voted for was Jimmy Carter. And I just had to look that up. So I was in high school in 73. It took me 4 more years before I even bothered to vote. So I took democracy for granted all those years. I do know I voted for Jimmy Carter because I remember that. After that, again, I took democracy for granted. So I'm not doing it anymore. My life has changed drastically. I know I'm in a resistance movement in our area. I volunteer constantly, nonstop. And that is how it's going to continue to keep this democracy going.
Thank you,
Thank you for this time and thank you for hearing me. And again, my apologies to everybody, but I'm waking up and I'm awake.
Thank you so much for sharing.
You
We're
are
going to move on
welcome.
now to the next part. And this is where it's going to get to be a bit more personable for you guys. Um, I think everybody has a battle story. I think I'm speaking as from an African American perspective. We have a battle story, but I don't want to say that you don't have one because you're not African American. But I would like for us to begin now by sharing stories of the battles and the victories that brought us to the ballot box. There's a why for us voting. What is your why? Was it going to be something victorious or was it a battle? What brought you to the ballot box to begin with when you first started voting? And I can only have about, this is going to be only for 5 people. And we'll have a chance for other people to talk in a few minutes, but this is just for 5 people. So just think about it. And when you're ready to share, just let me know. Okay, Linda Titus.
Good morning, everyone. Where I am is still morning. I'm in Southern California. Uh, what brought me to the ballot box is my family history. Um, my great grandfather lived to be near his hundreds, and I got a chance to walk and talk with him. And he emphasized the importance of voting because he had been through the Trail of Tears and Jim Crow and so many other things. And he was a history teacher. And he instilled that in all of us coming after him. My grandmother was an activist. she talked voting, the importance of it, because she and my mom and that whole group dealt with poll tax and all the other craziness that they had to go through. The other thing is my neighborhood that they built uh, themselves, each street was named after some political figure or activist. And then also, my mom was I was born in Oklahoma, so I dealt with all of the Oklahoma stuff. But then in Texas, uh, my mother was active, and she very active in getting Ann Richards elected the first Democratic governor and female of Texas. So I've seen this. I've witnessed it all my life. So it just came natural to get out there and get folks registered, to door knock, to phone bank and everything. And that's why I am active, and I've encouraged my children, grandchildren to also to be active and to pay homage to all of those that have gone before us for this right to vote. So
Thank
that's
you.
my share for why.
Thank you so much, Linda. Anyone else? What is your story? The battles or the victories? What brought you to the ballot box?
I can go. I
Okay.
Yeah, so I had a similar story to Deb where I was real involved with life and work, and so I was consumed by that and not necessarily real active politically here. I'm also in Texas, and I worked for federal. So I was a federal civil servant for 41 years before I retired. Yeah, hi. And so for me. And I was a military family or military child for and family member for a long time. So I lived most of my life overseas. So before I moved to Texas, I was 20 lived 29 years in Europe. So went to school there. And so for us, the first time I ever voted, it was absentee ballot. So there wasn't really much beyond putting your choice in an envelope. And then when I got here, I did help out with Barack Obama's campaign, as well as Kamala Harris, but primarily, and then even Beto O'Rourke, who was local. But mostly it was just for those actual campaigns. And then I kind of went back to working. And then what changed for me is I was devastated and really. I just can't even tell you how low I was after Kamala Harris lost. And I just felt like so much. I had read Project 2025. I was really concerned about it. I had studied it, and I said bad things are going to be coming if this guy gets elected. And of course, as you know, he did. So it's funny you should have that quote by Michelle Obama at the beginning of your session, because as I was laying in bed, and I mean literally laying in bed for probably 2 days, I had friends that didn't said, I know you're too upset to even talk about this. So, and they were right. I wasn't taking any calls. I wasn't involved in any groups. But then I got to a point where I said, am I just going to sit this out for 4 years and wait? Because I was in a position, I'm in a position of privilege where I could do that, right? I had saved money for retirement. I could go on cruises. And then the other fork in the road was, or are you going to do something? And that was that was Michelle Obama in my head saying, do something. And so I did. I went down to the Bexar County Dem office, said I want to volunteer in any way that I can. They asked me, I said, but I know nothing about local politics, like zero. I don't know what anything is. I haven't been involved in city council. I didn't even know what city council was, honestly. And they said, well, we can connect you with your precinct chair. Let me look it up. And they looked it up and they said, oh, you don't have a precinct chair. Would you like to be the precinct chair? I said, I don't know anything about precinct chairs, but I'll read about it, learn about what it is. And I did do just that. I found an online training, and it was pretty much a little more than your neighborhood, your neighborhood community and getting out the vote and all that. So I became involved in that. And now I literally am involved in everything. I am a full-time activist. I am in a leadership role with Indivisible. I am in a leadership role with 5051. I am working with Tommy Calvert, who's our Bear commissioner. And we have a coalition group that we just reached 100 different organizations in the coalition group, and we are fighting hard. So the Secretary of State has held our voter data hostage. We're trying to transition to a the problem is the state system is really messed up, and it doesn't have accurate data in it, so it's disenfranchising voters. And so I was involved with the work that the coalition did to raise that issue to the commissioner's court, who wrote a letter. And now we're involved in gathering people who have been impacted and been disenfranchised so we can get litigation going, because literally the Secretary of State is saying they are not going to give our voted data to the contractor that we paid $2 million to do their own registration, because counties can do their own registration systems, if you will. And so, yeah, I am all in and very, very involved in the immigration efforts here, actually personally helping families connect with lawyers and resources, and working with their legal teams and with our representatives like Joaquin Castro and other congressional. I even now as I'm talking about it, I'm like, how did this happen in a year? Like, I don't even know. So, but my experience working the halls of the Pentagon and navigating around bureaucracies and realizing you have to establish relationships with people to get stuff done. So that I'm just taking that experience and then moving it into community organization and organizing as well as activism, and it seems to be a good fit. So anyway, that's what's going on in Texas.
Thank you. Anybody else on this one? Shirley. Shirley. Okay, Casey, I see you leaning forward, girl.
I was just gonna say really quickly that I think the thing that got me, I forget how you posed the question, but initially involved and passionate about voting or the issue or whatever the question was, my mom always just drilled into us. I think my brother and sister-in-law are here too now. I think passionately about making sure everyone had an equal playing field and how important that was and how our votes had to be put towards that. And it was just such a part of the conversation in our household. And I think that's what got me going. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Anyone else?
May I say something, Miss Evelyn?
Yeah, take it away.
This is Lena again. For me, I realized with so many of my elders passing away in my family, like I have become the elder, and I'm just like, what in the world? But where I was living at before I came to the skilled nursing facility that I currently reside in was a house full of young adults. So I want to say it went from like 19. At that time, my nephew was probably the oldest was 29. So again, I became the auntie who texted everything. I was on social media. I was posting everything. And he was like, Auntie, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm trying to get you involved and trying to have some conversations. So, like, again, they know by the time it's like early voting starts, I'm going to be on them. Like, did you check your registration? Have you made a plan yet? And that's always like, oh, it's just right across the street. I'm like, but you don't know what could happen between now and election day. So I encourage you to do it early kind of thing. But so, yeah, definitely trying to get more involved with the 20 somethings in the early 30s. Just, get educated. You have to educate yourself. You have to research. One of the favorite phrases that somebody said to me, like, I don't do politics. And then somebody else said, well, politics are going to do you. So again, that's part of my motivation, just to get more people educated as well.
Fantastic. Thank you, Lena. Anyone else? Well, the next part of our meeting today was going to be exactly what we just talked about. Is I want to give everybody an opportunity to share your stories, so you don't feel like you're rushed. We've got like about 20 more minutes on the same topic. So we can continue, or I can ground you with more music to give you a chance to think. Not everyone, like I can't remember who said they were a public speaker. Like Nancy is a public speaker. So, and I understand that. But you guys, you have an opportunity. And what we're trying to do today is motivate us so we can spread this. This is not to be hung out on this Zoom call for me to upload somewhere else. I want you guys to really intake what's being said here so we can combine everybody's stories and then share far and wide. Casey.
I think I'm going to break your rule here, so just cut me off if you want. I know we're not supposed to comment on anyone else's thing, but I just wanted to say to Deb that of all the things, your story was so inspiring. So no apology necessary, because the most important thing is that people who haven't been paying attention are coming online. That's the most hopeful thing I've heard in a long time. So thank you for what you're doing now. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Naomi. You're muted, Naomi. Can you unmute? There you go.
So I guess I grew up in a household that was fairly politically engaged. My maternal grandfather, I think, was a card-carrying communist at one point. So very different, I guess, in a lot of ways from people, very liberal-minded. I feel like I lost my voice. And I started out voting at 18, whatever. And then I felt like because I wasn't very politically involved or engaged, that I didn't necessarily know the candidates. And I felt like, well, if I'm not informed, I shouldn't vote. So I kind of stopped voting for a number of years. But I don't know exactly when I started back getting involved. But certainly with the way things are now, I could not be silent any longer. And I've now started voting in local elections, getting engaged in more local politics. I've been involved writing postcards, which is a fabulous thing to do, to some southern states too, and it just strictly to encourage people to get out and vote. And I felt so gratified to know that those campaigns that I participated in, the right people won. One of them was the judge in Wisconsin. And, I can't say that what I did made a difference, but I like to hope that it did. And I'm in St. Paul, Minnesota, lived through Operation Metro Surge. It was really horrible. I got trained to be a witness at events, and while I didn't go, it raised my knowledge about what was going on, but I did a lot of donating things for people that were collecting things for families. And like I said, I feel at this point, there's so many horrible things going on every single day that we just can't be silent any longer.
Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. Okay, so I'm going to switch it up just a bit. Oh, I'm sorry, Nancy, I see your hand.
That's okay. Unmute.
You're not muted.
Oh,
you
okay.
are.
All righty. First of all, that was great from Naomi hearing that. What I like to do is I have learned over the years, particularly now, is you find common issues with people because every person, I don't care if they're left, right, or center, black, white, Asian, whatever, they all have a common theme, a common issue. And if you find that common issue, you want them to fight for that. Now, that might be a different opinion of yours, but you start with finding the common issues, and we all have common issues, whether it's older people with Social Security, younger people, what are they going to do for healthcare? What are they going to do with AI? All of these are common issues. And if you find the right balance, and that's what I like to do. So I talk to left, right, and center. Try to get them to understand, but I think people are more receptive nowadays than ever before to hear from anyone who's speaking about a current situation. So I just encourage you just to help people understand and educate, which it sounds like everybody is doing, and just encourage them 5 minutes a week. Write postcards for 5 minutes. Make phone calls for 5 minutes. You've done your duty as an American citizen. That's the way I feel. 5 minutes, that's it. Do something. You want to only go to a protest? Go to a protest. Postcard, but you did something and be proud of it. And I make sure people are proud of what they do. I compliment them, and they'll go, well, I didn't do much. Yes, you did. So this is what I really push. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. I'm glad that you spoke at this time because that's how I was going to lead in with the next idea. Since we've already basically completed the next step that I was going to share with you guys. It was the same thing. I just want to hear what you guys are doing. And then somebody talked about postcarding. I am an indivisible leader where I live, and at 1:30 Central Time today, my indivisible group is having a postcard writing party. So I'm going to have to really get off here like at 1:30. It starts at 2 o'clock from 2 to 4. So yeah, what you said is exactly it. And I think what we have to encourage people not to do and show them the importance of what they're doing is saying, but that's all I did. But that's all I did. All is not a word that we need to use. That's what I did. It sounds stronger to me. Because at the end of the day, at the end of this organizing that we're talking about, every piece matters. And for example, we have to choose our lanes of advocacy. We have on our list canvassing, postcarding, writing letters through Vote Forward, phone banking, texting. Canvassing is not on my lane. It's not in my lane. I will do it, but it's not my first thing. It's not my go-to. Because I'm not real comfortable knocking on a stranger's door and then giving a message. But I can talk to you all day long on the phone. Casey knows that. She can too. I can talk all day long. I can write postcards all day long. But we've got to know our lanes though. So since Nancy introduced that, let's talk about that lane. And if you haven't started something, I heard Dr. Chris say, she wasn't doing this and she wasn't doing that, but now she's doing all of that what she wasn't doing. So what are you willing to do more of if you have the time? And not just you, how can you bring more people into what you're doing if you have the time?
Yeah, I am Dada.
Okay.
Dada.
I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to mute you, Maria. I hope I'm not embarrassing Harper, but she looks like the youngest person on board today. And we were she put a thumb up. Okay, girl. And what we're talking about is bringing young people in. But this is one thing I know about working with young people. We don't interact with them by telling them what they have to do. We invite them in with active listening and have them share their stories about what they would like to do. So Harper, what would you like to do? What are you've heard your grandma, your mom talk about, giving credit to your grandma and the great grandparents. But what about you today? I hope I'm not putting you on the spot. If I am, just tell me to back off.
No, it's okay. I'm a theater kid. Don't mind. Um, I'd like to be more involved. I mean, I definitely vote and my mom is so involved, so I know that it's important, but I don't think I've done very much. I'd like to do more. I don't know. I do whatever. Writing postcards sounds good. I do the phone calls if I must. I'll do the knocking if I really must, but that doesn't sound great. Yeah, I don't know. I want to be more helpful, and I think it's hard. I'm not quite sure how to get people my age involved because I feel like everybody I know or associate with is already cares about it. So I'm not quite sure how to. I mean, like people in their 20s are pretty stupid, so I don't know how to make them care if they don't already care. But yeah.
Do you feel there's some apathy as the reason they don't care because they see things going? Well, tell me if I'm wrong about this. I see you guys as real social creatures. You really care deeply about people and issues that disenfranchise people. Do you think perhaps that's the reason why they seemingly don't really do that much, or?
It could be. I don't know. I don't have social media or anything, but I think like people I think see everything on social media and they feel like maybe that's enough because they're informed, or maybe if it's not directly affecting them, I think maybe the brain isn't fully developed and so you're like it's not happening to me, so it doesn't really matter, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that might be it.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Harper. I see Lena's hand. Take it away, Lena.
Sort of different from some of the folks online today. I have to battle with a lot of we have vote, but it don't count. It doesn't matter. And so again, I'm trying to refrain and hopefully help people rewire that no, it is important. You may not want to wait every 4 years just to vote for the president because you have to start locally because that's where you live at. That's where you shop at. That's where you drive at. That's where you live at. But yeah, sometimes it's very hard to break stereotypes or things that you know that that's not you saying. Like my 22-year-old saying, "Oh, I'm not going to vote because my daddy said it's just a waste of time." But it's almost like you have to go in. You got to have those tough conversations and ask them, "Well, are you an adult or are you still a child? Are you making up your mind or are you just following behind what somebody else said for you?" So again, that also made me look in the mirror and ask myself certain questions as well. Like, why am I doing what I'm doing? And so between the future for my children or like again, the life changing disease that I'm going through, like up until 30, I was doing the things. And then all of a sudden my life changed. I'm in a wheelchair. I'm connected to a ventilator. And so like again, the issues that are close to my heart have changed over the year, but the overall caring about other human beings has always been there.
Thank you, Lena. And I'm going to give everybody else a chance to talk too. I know some of us have talked more than others, but before I go to, I think it's someone had their hand raised. I want to give everybody a chance to talk. Wait just a second, Nancy.
Yeah, okay.
Give everyone else a chance to have a response too. As I see Linda has, I don't think Linda has had a chance to share. And if you're welcome to, Linda, if you'd like, you've been here for a while. And I don't,
Hello.
yeah, okay. So, yes, Linda, take it away.
Hi, I'm Linda from Indiana, and I'm kind of touch on some things that others have mentioned. I started voting many years ago, especially when I was in college, and it was during the Vietnam protests. I get locked into classes while others were protesting on the outside, and we got caught up in a lot of that stuff. I remember my grandpa voting. I remember my mom and dad were solid voters. And I remember from a child on up, very young, even before I could vote, that we were encouraged to vote. We were encouraged to participate. My parents were business owners and they were involved with so many different organizations for so many different reasons. One of them was political, but a lot of them were business oriented. And I always thought of it as a civic duty that you've got to be aware of who you are voting for. Don't just blindly go in and go, okay, you want me to vote, I'll do it. And then just vote and not care about what you're voting for or who you're voting for and what the issues are. So that I've always looked at it from that standpoint. I know that I continued on. I think maybe because my dad was a World War II veteran, that encouragement to be involved, to not, to elect leaders that are not going to get us in the direction of wars, since he had experienced so much during World War II. And even now, when I talk to my son, who is also a veteran, he's only 40, but he's a veteran of this country. And he said, it's critically important to vote. But he said, vote locally and then go work your way up. So as far as I know, I have been working, well, what my late husband was very deeply involved in politics. His family was. And I just picked up on it even stronger from my husband, who was a member of our town council. He was our town council president at one point. He was the president of he was the first emergency management director in the town I live in. And so he was very actively involved. And I was married to him for 35 years. So we were always active. And we taught Eric the same values of vote, vote, vote. And don't just vote on a national level. You have to make a difference at your local level. That's where a lot of things take place that you may not like. And a lot of people get in that you go, I don't know about this person. And so those are the things that I've been doing now, right now. I protest or rally with a group up north in North Lake County, Indiana, every weekend, every Saturday. When I can, financially, I'm hampered. I'm kind of hampered by my finances. But when I can, I will join in with Coffee and Conversations when I'm able. And I'm supporting the young man who's running for our 11th congressional district in Indiana. And I'm supporting him. I've already canvassed with him once, and I intend to continue doing these kinds of things for him. But it is so critical. It is so important. I just don't think enough people realize yet. Democracy is on oxygen. People, please, please take it seriously and realize that I don't care what it is that you do. Whatever you do in a positive, forward moving direction, please continue to do it. Don't ever put down what you are doing. Whatever you are able to do, please continue.
Thank you
Thanks.
so much, Linda. Really appreciate that. I have a question for you guys. Based on everything that I've heard today, um, you guys are very tenacious. You're unrelenting. You're not going to give up. But what I'm hearing one thing though, when it comes to young people, uh, I just want to say, I want to see if you're hearing what I'm hearing. When it comes to young people, because I don't hear that much conversation about outreach to them, what do you think is lacking on your part, on our part?
Oh,
What's lacking? One person at a time.
I, I
Okay,
think
Doctor
that,
Chris.
yeah, so yeah, I'm real interested in making the connections with young people. So one of the things that I have been doing is I think we just have to again, I'm going to start with building relationships, but more importantly, being a good listener. So the other day I went out block walking with a group, the Socialists of America. They actually we were in San Antonio, ICE just bought a warehouse to convert into a detention center. So we're real involved in lots of efforts to push back on that. But we wanted to connect with people in the neighborhoods nearby. So DSA actually goes out and they pair people off with somebody who's done it before. So I was paired with this young woman who's an environmental scientist. And but it was just really refreshing just to listen, just to ask questions. What do you think about this? What are your thoughts on that? And I think that the more we are, and back to even canvassing, I have a different feeling about canvassing now that I've been introduced to relational canvassing. And that is, again, kind of where you're listening as opposed to you have a script, like hey, I want you to vote for so and so, and here's why they're so great and wonderful. If we just have, we had a local person here, Jordan Brown. He's also a young person and a teacher, and he was running for a state seat. And again, just accompanying him on block walking and listening to how he had conversations with people. And again, he was just on total listen mode. What's on your mind? What worries you? What are you concerned about? What do you want to see, people in your elected officials do more of or do less of? And so I think that's the key is just occupy the space where young people are and be a good listener. Put your, as teachers say, put your listening ears on, and just kind of try and understand the perspectives of young people. So that's what I.
Brilliant. Yeah. Okay, I think I see Naomi's hand.
So I am involved in a small group called a Democracy Circle, and we look to take action about everything that's going on and protecting democracy. And I saw something that I'm hoping we're going to take on that I thought was really intriguing. I saw a former boss of mine partner with the League of Women Voters, and she was at a high school registering high school students to vote and giving them information about voting. And I thought that was extremely powerful and a really excellent way to reach out to young people. The neighborhood that I live in has a lot of college campuses, so our little group is going to reach out to the League of Women Voters and see if we can do some tabling either at high schools or the college campuses to try to get the young people registered. Because to me, if you're not registered, obviously you can't vote. And in addition to doing the registration, it's a way to provide information about voting, about the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, about the SAFE Act, and just try to, engage the those people in, conversations about why this is so important.
Okay, thank you, Naomi. I think Nancy, you're next, and then Maria.
Yeah, I was just going to say that the percentage of the young people get of close to 70% get all of their info from social media. And sadly, a lot of these groups, Democratic clubs, aren't using digital like we should. And I know it's tough for some people. I get that. But this is how they relate. That's what we found here. And we finally got a young Dems club for ages 10 to 40. And it's starting to pick up. They have about 15 in there now. So it's starting, but it starts, I think, with the digital. You have to engage them in what they can understand, and that's their language. And I think Harper might be able to fill us in on that. As far I know, she's not on social media, but social media is huge, and that's what I take advantage of for anybody. And one of my memes that I did got over 5,000 views from people I don't even know, and I thought, wow, this really works. So that's what I would suggest: digital.
Thank you so much, Nancy. I agree with that. Maria.
Okay, so my experience with my niece, who's 27 now, is that there's a lot of fear to get involved. I try to like engage her to go to the, protest, and she, was recoiling because of what happened in Minnesota. And she was like, and I said, hey, we'll stand back, we'll observe, we don't have to, you know what I mean? You know, we don't have to march. We can, sit in chairs and wait because she has sciatica and stuff like that. So it really is a baby walk for them. You really have to handhold a lot. So for every election, I describe the candidates. Basically, I tell her this is who you vote for, this is why, or this is who you don't vote for, and this is why, because they're not doing the research. They're not, and it really is the consumerism, right? What you're throwing your money at is really supporting these candidates. In the vaccine, right? You don't have to support the campaigns monetarily. You're supporting them by who you're shopping with, right? I'm always verbal, and you know what I mean? I'm that loudmouth that says, hey, why are you eating there? Because they, gave, this much money. You know what I mean? Like, I try to remember everything, and it's just so difficult because they might be part of your party, but they're against unions, or they're not paying living wages. There's a big old gap between the CEO and the lowest paid, et cetera, things that you want to fix, or they're not supportive of birth control, things like that. So, there's always these caveats, and we're just trying our best. And I'm like, just try to do the lesser of the evils. Whenever you're spending your money, and support small businesses, like I try to, encourage the small businesses because they're not the ones supporting these super PACs. You know what I mean? They barely have money to support themselves. And so, they're least likely to contribute to those super PACs. So, it's communication. It's down to communication, hand holding, making it as easy as possible, really, really, they're so overwhelmed by money expenses. She's really overwhelmed by money expenses and the fear because of the social media. That's what they think. And I'm like, there's thousands of protests that happen at one. You know what I mean? Those things happen at one out of the thousands. So,
yeah, thank you, Maria. Really appreciate it.
mhm.
So that's going to be our last speaker for today. But I want to just share what I've heard here, and maybe some things that we can do. I'm hearing about going to college campuses. I'm hearing about the kinds of social media they're not going to be on Facebook, y'all. That's for older people like me. They're not hanging out there anymore, so don't go looking for them there. But I think they're still active on TikTok. I don't know how to use that yet. Do you? I'm going to learn. I'm really going to learn because that's where they hang out, and I know that. But I'll tell you something else I heard too, maybe indirectly. If you're going to have a conversation with a young people, well, a young person, don't do a large group. You know why? Because there are some in there that are completely embarrassed. But you know why? Because they don't know anything about democracy. They don't know about it. And they're going to sit there like, oh my gosh, what am I doing here? One on one. And you know what that's going to entail? TIME. But if we're going to draw them in, we got to use our time. It's got to be time. TIME, one-on-one. And you know what they're going to do if you spend time with them? They're going to bring the people that need to be there. That's kind of been my experience in other areas working with young people. Don't group them. Don't group them by just, oh, you know what, Harper, you have all these friends. Can you bring all your friends? Well, did you hear what Harper said? Remember what she said a few minutes ago? Maybe they don't care. But I would say maybe they do care, and they just don't want you to know that they don't know yet. So take it slow. Love on them. And the last thing, feed them. Have invite them to Panera somewhere, a friendly place. And you know what they're going to say? Oh my gosh, Nancy and Casey and Chris and Linda and Naomi and Lena and Maria. Oh my gosh, they brought us the best food. I haven't eaten like that in I don't know how long. Keep doing it. Keep doing
Harper
it.
just
Casey.
said, oh my God, that would work.
What now?
Harper just said, when you said feed them, she said, oh yeah, that would work.
Yep. So we've got to strategize on how they respond. What do they need? It'll work. But we've got to really be proactive though. And not only that, you know what? They work. They have jobs. And on the election day, they can't vote maybe because they're working. What are we going to do to make sure they have access to voting otherwise? What are we willing to do to help them get to the place where they need to be? Don't see them as us. See them as them. We're going to close by playing one more song. I see your hand, but we're going to have to cut it short this time, really, really short. So last comment. Is your hand up, Maria? Very, very short comment. Okay. So my grandson's going to play a last song, and that's going to be it. Follow us on Mobilize. We have 4 events coming up June through September, I believe. Similar to this in a way, but not focused directly on voter registration, but just the African American culture and how we have continuously overcome this stuff in this nation. It's possible. It's possible. But coming together, let's have, I'm so glad you guys are here. I've learned so much, and I appreciate your time and just your participation overall. Some of you I want to follow up with. I have your emails on Mobilize. I hope that's okay to follow up with you because I heard some stuff that I would like for you to get involved in some things that we're doing if you have time and are available and would like to. So we're going to play one last song. I want you guys to hang with this song. It's about 3 or 4 minutes long. And then you have your afternoon back. It's been great. It's been fantastic. Thank you so much. Let me get it pulled up.
The world will break you if you let it in. It will tell you lies about who you've been. It will wear you down when you're tired and weak. Whisper you're not enough when you can barely speak. But there's a spark inside you they can't take away. Even on your worst night, it's still there. Keep the faith, even when you don't see the way. Keep the faith when no one believes. Stay strong, even when you feel weak. You got this, I believe. Keep the faith, keep the faith, keep the faith, keep the faith, keep the feels like work, but every step you take still counts as fight. You don't need the crowd to know you're right. If you're still standing, you're not done. If your heart's still beating, you've already won. Keep the faith when it all feels heavy. Keep the faith when it all seems lost. Stay strong even when you break. You got this. I believe you got this. 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 Hear me now. You are not weak. You are not breaking. You are not low. You are not low. You are not low. You are strong. You are not weak. You are not weak. You are not broke. Keep the faith. Lift your head and breathe. Keep the faith. 'Cause this is not the end. Stay strong. You are built to bend, not break. You got this. We believe. If no one told you today, let me say yeah. You got this. 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 You got
Okay, good people. This was fantastic. I love you guys. Thank you for showing up. And let's hang out again together. Sometimes I want to know what y'all are doing, but here's your assignment though. Get out there and do it. We know what we're up against, right? It's going to take us spreading this far and wide, doing what we can, getting tired, taking a break, resting, and doing it again. I see Linda's sign says get in good trouble, necessary trouble. Let's do that. Let's do it. Thank you guys for spending this time with us. Really appreciate you. Have a good one.
Thanks, Missy.
You're welcome.